Dear friends, I represent the National Council of Resistance in Iran, which is the opposition to the religious fascism ruling Iran today. First of all, I'd like to thank the organisers of this conference for inviting me here today to talk. And I'd like to salute the brothers and sisters in prison in Iran and the bereaved mothers of those who have been executed. Camp Liberty, and I would also like to salute those in Camp Liberty who are standing steadfast despite attacks and threats against them. Fundamentalism is a threat to everyone in the world. Extremism under the banner of Islam has spread all over the world, and Daesh is a good example of this. The fundamentalist regime in Iran has ruled for 37 years, and one of its main characteristics is enmity to women. In the last 30 to 40 years, more women have been executed in prison in Iran than anywhere else in the world. 120,000 members of our movement have been executed, and 30% of them were women. Some of them were as young as 13 or 14, and in one case even a pregnant woman was executed. The regime's laws, its Sharia, decree that the judges must base their decisions on codified law. But if the codified law doesn't cover the case in question, they must turn to religious rulings. Now, in reality, these religious rulings come from a book written by the Ayatollah Khomeini. And this book is based on male domination, inequality. It promotes polygamy and inhumane treatment of people, and it even allows for slavery of women. Other decrees issued by the Ayatollah Khomeini allow for men to take temporary wives. The mullahs of the Ayatollah Khomeini have spread their ideology to other countries. Extremism has spread throughout the Middle East and in Africa. And we can see groups like Daesh, Boko Haram and the Taliban, and others which have actually been sponsored by the Iranian regime, such as the militias in Iraq, Yemen and Lebanon. Now, I think I'd like to draw a parallel between what's happening in Iraq and with the Yazidis. Now, we've all heard about the Yazidi women who have been enslaved by ISIS, by Daesh. And actually, this is a parallel with what's written in the book by Ayatollah Khomeini, which actually allows for women to be enslaved by men. Khomeini's book is based on force and oppression, and Islam in reality is against any kind of force or oppression. If there are no equal rights, there is no Islam. We believe in a democratic Islam, and we also believe in equality for all. In Iran, there's been a mandatory dress code, or hijab, and women have been protesting against this since it was introduced. There are agencies that have been set up to counter improper veiling. According to official reports, in 1 year, agents stopped 3.6 million women for improper veiling, and 18,000 of them were put on trial. In Iran, poverty is also an enormous problem, as well as repression and inequality. And the majority of the population lives in poverty. The economic participation of women represents just 13% of the economy. And in Parliament, women representatives are only 3% of the total number of members. Our movement is led by a woman, Mariam Rajavi. She is a Muslim and she believes in the separation of religion and state. She's drawn up a 10-point plan which involves gender equality, the abolition of the death penalty, and she wants to introduce democracy into Iran, as well as freedom and equality. The Iranian regime, on the other hand, is a hysterical monopoly of power, and it maintains power purely by force. We, on the other hand, believe in the Declaration of Human Rights, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, the Convention Against Torture, the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, and we are also in favour of a non-nuclear Iran. I'd like to draw your attention to Camp Liberty. This is on the front line, and the people living in Camp Liberty are an inspiration to all of us. There have been 2 deadly attacks on Camp Liberty by proxies of the Iranian regime in Iraq. On the 8th of April 2011, special forces of the former Iraqi Prime Minister attacked the camp. The residents were defenceless. This was the second attack, and many people were killed and injured. Witnessing such injustice, I have decided to devote my life to the friends of mine who were killed, and to be their voice and to speak about establishing a democratic Iran all over the world. I call on you today to defend the courageous people of Camp Liberty who are still vulnerable to attacks, and to stand with the resistance, which is the antithesis of fundamentalism and the antithesis of the regime ruling in Iran today, which endangers the whole world. Thank you.
That was a cool speech.